My girlfriend laughed and said, "We're not that serious," when I asked about her dating apps. So I quietly hid the engagement ring upstairs and ended up matching with her own sister the very next day. I'm Jake, 31M, and at that time, I thought I was in a serious relationship with a woman named Vanessa. We had been together for 16 months, and for the last 9, we'd been living together in a small apartment in Denver. I truly believed we were building a real future. Upstairs, in my sock drawer, I had been hiding something special, an engagement ring. For 3 weeks, I'd been waiting for the right moment to ask her to marry me. I had it all planned out. Our trip to Aspen next month was supposed to be the perfect time. The snow, the mountains, the quiet moments together. It felt like it would be a memory we'd tell our kids about someday. But that illusion shattered faster than I could blink. We were sitting on the couch, waiting for our Thai food delivery, laughing about something silly she saw on her phone. Then her screen lit up again, and right there, in plain sight, was a notification from Hinge. My heart dropped. It wasn't even hidden, just sitting there on the coffee table for me to see. I took a breath, trying to stay calm, and asked her the most reasonable question I could think of. "You still have dating apps?" She looked up, smiled casually, and let out this light laugh that made my stomach twist. "Jake," she said, "we're not that serious." I sat there, completely frozen. I didn't even know what to say. She shrugged, as if she had just commented about the weather, and added, "Yeah, because rent is crazy in Denver. Don't make it weird." Then she looked at me and smirked. "You're so old-fashioned sometimes. My parents always say I rush into relationships, so this time, I'm just taking my time." That line echoed in my head. I just sat there, eating my spaghetti, watching her scroll through Instagram like nothing happened. That's when something inside me shifted. It was like a switch flipped. I realized that the woman sitting across from me was treating our relationship like a temporary contract. Something convenient until she found something better. I was splitting bills and sharing my life with someone who saw me as a backup plan. That night, lying beside her as she scrolled through her phone, I made a quiet decision. If we weren't that serious, then I'd show her exactly what that looked like. The next morning, while she was at her marketing job posting about authentic lifestyle brands, I started making some authentic changes of my own. I canceled our shared Netflix, Spotify, and Amazon Prime accounts. I removed her from my car insurance. Then I called my friend Ryan. He works in finance, and asked him to help me separate every single expense we shared. By noon, every bill, subscription, and account was under my name alone. And then, for the final touch, I downloaded Hinge, Bumble, and Coffee Meets Bagel. If we weren't serious, why not see what was out there? 3 hours later, my heart almost stopped. Right there on my screen was a familiar face. Chloe Adams, Vanessa's younger sister. She was a graphic designer, always more grounded and mature than Vanessa, and she had super liked me. I stared at my phone for a long time. Felt wrong, like I was crossing some line. But then I remembered what Vanessa said. "We're not that serious." So I swiped right. Within minutes, Chloe messaged me. "Jake, please tell me this is some kind of joke." I typed back, "Just doing what your sister's doing. Apparently, we're not that serious." Her response made my chest tighten. She told me that Vanessa had been telling their family that we were practically engaged. I sat there stunned. She was telling her family that we were planning a future together, while telling me that we were just casual roommates. The manipulation was so deep it almost made me laugh. That night, Chloe and I talked for hours. She confirmed what I had suspected for months. Vanessa had always kept me around as a safe option, someone reliable, while she looked for better opportunities. But then Chloe said something that lit a fire in me. There was a family dinner that Sunday, their parents' wedding anniversary. I wasn't invited. Apparently, Vanessa told them I was too busy with work to attend. I smiled for the first time in days. Maybe it was time to show up. All week, I played the role of the perfect boyfriend. I sent her sweet messages, cooked dinner, kissed her on the cheek. Vanessa looked so confused but also happy that I seemed more committed. She had no idea that I was quietly setting the stage for a moment she'd never forget. On Friday afternoon, I called her dad, David Adams. He had always liked me. So when I told him I wanted to surprise Vanessa by showing up at the anniversary dinner, he was thrilled. "We'd love to see you, son," he said warmly. "Margaret was just saying she misses you." The trap was set. Sunday came faster than I expected. Vanessa spent 2 hours getting ready, doing her hair, makeup, and wearing that navy dress I'd bought her when she got promoted. She looked beautiful, but all I could think about was the lie behind that smile. I complimented her, drove us to her parents' house in silence, and let her talk about her day like nothing was wrong. Dinner started off perfectly normal. Her mom, Margaret, made her famous lasagna, and David opened a bottle of wine he'd been saving. Everyone was laughing and catching up. I played my role flawlessly, asking about Chloe's design work, complimenting the food, smiling at the right moments. Vanessa's hand rested on my knee under the table. She thought everything was perfect. Then Margaret looked at us with that motherly smile and asked the question I'd been waiting for. "So, when's the engagement happening, you two? I'm not getting any younger, and I want grandkids while I can still chase them around." The room fell silent. I could feel Vanessa freeze next to me. Then she said it, the words that changed everything. "Mom, we're not that serious. I don't want to rush into anything. You know how you always say I move too fast." You could have heard a pin drop. David's fork hit the plate. Margaret's smile vanished. Even Chloe looked shocked. "You live together," David said slowly. "You've been together over a year." Vanessa just smiled weakly. "It's 2025, Dad. People can live together without it meaning anything serious." And that's when Chloe spoke, calm but firm. "Speaking of not being serious, I saw your Hinge profile this week. It said you were active 3 hours ago." The look on Vanessa's face was pure panic. "What are you talking about, Chloe?" she hissed. Chloe just smiled, pulled out her phone and said, "Right here. Says active this morning. Great photos, by the way. Very authentic lifestyle brand aesthetic." David's face went pale. Margaret looked like she was about to cry, and I just sat there, slowly sipping my wine. Vanessa turned to me, eyes wide. "Jake, say something. Tell them this is crazy." I set my glass down and smiled calmly. "She's right. You told me we weren't that serious. So, I figured I should keep my options open too. That's what casual people do, right?" And then Chloe dropped the final bombshell. "Including me." The room exploded. Vanessa screamed. Her mother cried. David stood up in shock. "You treat commitment like it's a joke," he said to his daughter. "I'm ashamed." Vanessa ran out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. I stayed behind, helped clean up, and apologized. Margaret hugged me, saying it wasn't my fault. David told me I deserved better. Before I left, Chloe walked me to my car. She whispered, "Thank you for showing her the truth." That night, for the first time in months, I slept peacefully. The days following that explosive dinner felt like a strange mix of relief and chaos. On one hand, I felt lighter than I had in months, free from the weight of pretending that everything was fine. On the other hand, I knew that Vanessa wouldn't just let this go quietly. I'd exposed her lies in front of her entire family, and for someone like her, whose entire life revolved around image and control, that kind of public humiliation was like a death sentence. Sure enough, Monday morning arrived like a storm. I was sitting at my desk, drinking coffee, when I heard the front door burst open. Vanessa stood there, eyes red, makeup smudged, her face twisted with rage. "How could you do this to me?" she screamed, throwing her bag onto the couch. "You humiliated me in front of my family, Jake. You ruined my relationship with my parents." I kept my voice calm, even though my heart was beating fast. "No," I said quietly. "You did that when you called our relationship casual while telling them we were practically engaged." That only made her angrier. She started crying, then screaming, then begging. She told me to call her parents and tell them it was all a misunderstanding. When I refused, she turned cold. Her tears dried instantly, and she looked at me with pure hatred. "If you don't fix this," she said, I'll tell everyone you emotionally manipulated me, that you were cheating with my sister. At that point, I pulled out my phone and started recording. She lost it completely. She threw a pillow, knocked over a lamp, screamed that I was trying to control the narrative. I didn't respond. I just let her burn herself out until she finally grabbed her bag and slammed the door behind her. By Tuesday, the story took a new turn. Vanessa posted on Instagram, writing a long paragraph about how men weaponize humiliation when they can't handle independent women. Her followers from her authentic lifestyle brand World ate it up. Hundreds of comments poured in, calling her brave, telling her to rise above the toxicity. She even added a black and white selfie with puffy eyes and a quote about healing. But the internet has a funny way of turning the truth upside down. That night, Chloe messaged me with screenshots. She'd been invited to a private group chat Vanessa shared with her friends, and what Vanessa wrote there made my blood run cold. She called me safe and boring but useful, said I was good for stability, while she looked for someone with more financial potential. She bragged about how easy it was to keep me around and joked that she had Jake wrapped around her finger. Reading those words felt like being punched in the gut. Every late-night talk, every movie we watched together, every little moment that I thought meant something, it all felt like a lie. But along with the pain came something else, validation. I had known deep down that I was just her backup plan, and now I had proof. I saved the screenshots and documented everything she'd posted publicly. By Wednesday morning, karma finally caught up. Vanessa's boss at her marketing agency called her in for a meeting. Apparently, HR had been monitoring her social media after multiple complaints about her mixing personal drama with brand content. She'd been warned before about crossing professional boundaries online. This time, they decided to terminate her employment for violating company policy. She was fired on the spot. Thursday afternoon, Chloe texted me again. A simple warning that sent my heart racing. Jake, she's planning to move out while you're at work. She's bringing a U-Haul. That message snapped me into action. I called the landlord immediately and explained the situation. Within hours, the lease was transferred entirely into my name. I also arranged for a legal witness to be present during her move. When Vanessa arrived the next day with her friends and the moving truck, I was already there, calmly waiting with documentation of what belonged to me. She looked shocked to see me. "You can't just kick me out," she said coldly. "I'm not," I replied. "I'm just making sure everything stays fair." She took her clothes, her desk, and a few boxes of kitchen items. The rest, the furniture, the TV, the dishes I paid for, stayed right where they were. When she left, I changed the locks and sat in silence for a long time. The apartment felt strange without her. Quiet, but peaceful. For a few days, things were still. Then Margaret, her mother, called me crying. Apparently, Vanessa had told her parents that I'd been cheating with Chloe for months, and that the dinner confrontation was a cruel setup. I listened patiently before sending Margaret the screenshots that proved otherwise, the Hinge match timestamp, Chloe's messages, and Vanessa's chats with her friends. Margaret apologized over and over, her voice breaking. "We had no idea she was lying like this," she said. "David is going over to talk to her right now." That night, Chloe texted me something that sent a chill down my spine. "She just posted a TikTok about you." The video was titled, "My ex and my sister betrayed me." Vanessa sat there, crying on camera, talking about how her sister seduced me and how we conspired to humiliate her in front of her family. It got thousands of views in hours. The comments were full of people calling me a monster, saying Chloe was evil, telling Vanessa she deserved better. But then the internet did what it does best, it dug deeper. Someone posted screenshots of Vanessa's active dating profiles. Another commenter found a timestamp that proved she was still using the apps the same day I'd found out. Then Chloe commented directly on the video, writing, "You weren't his ex when you were still shopping for options." That one comment broke the whole story wide open. Within a day, the narrative flipped completely. People started calling Vanessa out for lying. Screenshots of her messages to friends spread across platforms. The video was deleted, but it was too late. The internet never forgets. I should have felt victorious, but honestly, I just felt tired. I never wanted it to go that far. I only wanted her to see the consequences of playing with people's hearts. But now she'd lost her job, her reputation, and probably her peace of mind. A few days later, I found an AirTag hidden under my driver's seat. Someone had been tracking me. I filed a report and contacted a lawyer. That's when I realized this situation was no longer just emotional. It was dangerous. 2 weeks later, there was a knock on my door. When I opened it, I found Margaret standing there, tears in her eyes. She told me Vanessa had been hospitalized after a severe panic attack. The doctor said she'd had a breakdown after reading all the comments online. Apparently, she'd been printing out the screenshots, laying them across her floor, obsessing over every word. Hearing that broke something in me. I didn't feel angry anymore, just sad. No one deserved to spiral like that. I promised Margaret I wouldn't post or talk about the situation publicly again. I just wanted peace. In the following weeks, I filed a cease and desist order to stop the tracking and online harassment, but I chose not to press criminal charges. I deleted every dating app, closed my social media accounts, and tried to rebuild my life in quiet. Chloe checked in on me a few times. She felt guilty even though she had done nothing wrong. We'd talk for hours about how people can destroy each other without realizing it. Over time, those conversations turned into friendship. Nothing romantic, just two people who had been through the same hurricane, trying to make sense of it all. Months later, I moved to Boulder and started my own consulting business. The air felt lighter there, cleaner, like I could finally breathe again. Every once in a while, Margaret would text me updates about Vanessa. She was working at a bookstore, going to therapy, trying to heal. I was genuinely glad to hear it. After about half a year, Chloe and I reconnected properly. It started with coffee, then hiking trips, then cooking dinners together. It was slow, peaceful, honest. The opposite of everything I'd experienced before. After 4 months, we finally admitted there was something more between us. When we told Margaret and David, they just smiled. Margaret said softly, "As long as it's built on honesty, we're happy for you both." And you know what? For the first time, I felt like I was in something real. A few weeks ago at a family barbecue, Vanessa showed up. She looked healthier, tired, but grounded. When she saw me, she walked over slowly and said, "You really did move on." There was no bitterness in her voice, just acceptance. I smiled and told her I was glad she was doing better. She said therapy helped her realize why she used to sabotage good things. We talked for a few minutes, calm, civil, like two people who once loved each other but finally understood why it didn't work. Later that night, Chloe asked me if I ever missed Vanessa. I thought about it for a while before answering. "I miss who I thought she was," I said, "not who she really turned out to be." Looking back now, I've learned something I'll never forget. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Vanessa told me we weren't serious. I should have listened. Instead, I tried to prove that our relationship meant something. But love doesn't need proof. The right person doesn't make you beg to be taken seriously. She said we weren't that serious. But in the end, that lesson made me more serious about the kind of love I deserve. If you enjoyed this story of karma, lessons, and emotional closure, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real-life stories that hit straight from the heart.